only if you have your right model, you have your right revenue plan of achievable, realistic targets, you have the right people in the right jobs, you have the sales process where you actually speak a common language and you know where you're at and what you do next. Marketing plays the right game with sales, they work and collaborate together. We have the right cadence at a sales management level. Now we're having an engine humming.
Hello everybody and welcome again to Ursula. Hello Ursula.
Hello John, good to be here.
Good to be with you. Well, last time we had a discussion about pipelines jamming up and not progressing, etc. And it led to me thinking about, the biggest issue that in the executive level, they're trying to manage planning across the whole enterprise and product development and product production or services or whatever it is they're planning, people, resources. They need a great forecast.
Yes.
And to roll up a great forecast, it is about understanding your pipeline and understanding how things are moving in the pipeline. Let's talk a little bit about what you have to do to manage all that from a sales management point of view, a CEO point of view, and so on, the C-suite and so on.
I see that so often, John. It's really the need for more certainty around your forecasting, more trust in your pipeline, that actually opportunities convert. And really when we are looking at our pipeline, what do we do to get to forecast? Let's start there.
Okay.
And most meetings I see would go a bit like this. You have a CRM report with your pipeline, and as a sales manager, you're already under time pressure, and the salespeople want to get out seeing customers again. You're looking at your pipeline and you ask, okay, what's been happening? What are you forecasting? Update the data in CRM. Thanks, done, and you're out the door.
Yes, I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, that doesn't give certainty. So unfortunately, to have more certainty, we have to really dig into that and bring more coaching into the overall pipeline review.
Okay.
So what I recommend there are really 3 different things you have to do. The first thing would be to look at your pipeline and look at what moved. Movement is everything, isn't it? Have our opportunities actually moved on from one stage to the next stage? Mm-hmm. And if they have, really understanding why we believe they have.
Make sure I use the word qualified or whatever you want to call it, but if it's real, is that really moved from there to there and it's progressing satisfactorily against all the measures we've got?
Exactly, because otherwise we wind up with a pipeline that's full of proposal stage, rated at 70%, and nothing closes.
Yeah.
That creates a lot of anxiety. So we really need to look at every stage when an opportunity moves on from one stage to the next stage, where we are increasing the percentage of conversion likelihood.
And you're talking about this being a role for a sales manager, and the way in which a sales manager gets to understand that very clearly is
to have a regular weekly, I would always recommend weekly pipeline reviews with the salesperson in a one-on-one setting.
Yes.
Otherwise, we can't do it in a group, otherwise we're wasting too much time.
And that's a good coaching opportunity too. So it's part of the coaching that we drill down and have a look at all the items in the pipeline, particularly those that either aren't moving or have moved fairly quickly, and just check them and validate them and make sure the salesperson has all the right answers, but not telling detailed stories. I know you're...
the storytelling, and thank you for reminding me of this, because that is really the biggest trap, because we love storytelling, don't we?
And we love hearing stories.
We love hearing them, we love to know what's happened in the last meeting and where it's going and so forth. But that doesn't give us a clear view of our pipeline. No. It doesn't give us the hard look at our pipeline. So if we agree for the meeting, for these 40 minutes we have, no storytelling, the answers are yes, no, I don't know, and say which opportunities moved forward, which opportunities need to move back. What did we win? What did we lose? What hasn't moved in 60 days? Because we've got to look at those.
I'm a great believer in asking customer-oriented questions when you're doing this with the salesperson. So it's not, where is it? Why hasn't it moved? What's the decision date and all that? Because what you're doing is encouraging the salesperson to go and have those sort of questions in their mind when they're talking to their customer.
Yes.
What you do need to, again, Dean Kelly did a great interview with me where he talked about the sorts of questions we should ask, and they're really around customers. What's a real value? How does a customer express that value in this deal? What's their compelling event? What do we have to make? When do they want implementation and why? What is compelling them to say we need implementation by that date? And out of that, they're all customer-oriented questions, but out of that we find out what we need to know. Is there a compelling event? Is there value in the proposal for the customer, and therefore are they likely to proceed? And a whole host of other questions you can ask.
Absolutely. The thing is the time management aspect in that. So it's really hard to do that with every opportunity, but it's important to know with which opportunities we do it. And so if you keep the pipeline review focused, you nominate those opportunities then for what I call deal planning session, and then you apply problem solving, creative thinking, saying, do we have all this? And I agree, we need to understand what the compelling event is. We need to understand why the customer would make a decision in a time frame. Why? What happens if they don't? That gives us the quality and the deeper insights, and then we can actually, work out how to work together. How can we move the deal forward? How can we re-engage with the customer so that it adds value to them in the sales cycle? So yes, there is a pipeline review, but we also need to look at the deal planning, where we look at the quality level, where we can have quality coaching time with the salesperson.
So by deal planning, you mean the deal strategy and whether the strategy has been thought through and how well it's being executed?
Yeah. I love calling it stress testing and saying, how can we make it break? Why
so the
would
people
it
mapping,
not happen?
who's going to be involved in this decision, what's happening with each person, and why, and what else needs to happen, and so on.
Let's face it, we all believe that we can close the deal. We all believe it will close. So there needs to be a moment in time where we need to ask, why wouldn't it close? And putting the spotlight on our blinds for say, why wouldn't it? When do we need to do more work?
I love that as a concept, and I try and encourage all my customers to apply it. Let's do a loss review before we've ever lost the deal. So we say, let's assume we've lost it, and let's go back and really evaluate why we lost that. And that'll lead to the questions we need to ask of ourselves. Yeah. And we'll identify what we haven't done or what we don't know that we need to find out.
Exactly. And that needs to be very constructive. So thinking of this sales management approach to that is to really make it a very safe environment where it's great to find something we haven't done well enough before, because that's a win, because now we can be constructive. And I always use the metaphor, when you jump out of a plane with a parachute, who do you want to check your parachute? If you check it yourself, you don't see what's wrong with it because you packed it yourself. So you want somebody else who is really good at parachute packing to find why it would go wrong and keep you safe, so you have a soft landing.
Through that process, learn.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So it is a brilliant coaching opportunity that, as you say, whether it's weekly, fortnightly, or whatever it is, a brilliant coaching opportunity to sit down with the salesperson and go through that process.
Absolutely, and that will give more confidence to the rest of the organization, because ultimately you need to consolidate it as a sales manager, don't you? And say, look, this is what we think we are bringing in, and if you're not bringing it in, it puts a lot of stress on the organization, and it questions the credibility of the sales team. So I think we're helping everybody in the business by looking very closely at, increasing and maintaining confidence we can have in the numbers.
And I would make a statement here that when the forecast is not accurate, it is not the fault of the salesperson. It's the fault of the sales manager, or it's a responsibility of the sales manager. So nobody, and I've seen, I think it was IBM or somebody once, CEO said all the salespeople are not doing a good job of forecasting.
Yeah.
It's not their responsibility.
It's a team effort.
It is.
I come back to the parachute. If I pack my parachute, I don't see the mistakes.
Okay.
I come back to that stress testing and being constructive about it.
So we've done the one-on-one pipeline management review and so on. What's next?
Nominating those opportunities you want to deep dive in,
So
really
make those
going in. So that should be scheduled. You should also invite, where do we critical big opportunities, where are our must wins, and having regular cadence around that, and then bringing the team together and understanding state of the nation and how you can, as a team, again, what do we need to do as a team to give confidence to the business in what we are doing.
And again, that's a development opportunity for the people in the team, right?
Yes.
So it's not a pipeline management meeting.
No.
I see too often. The sales manager brings all the salespeople and puts deal by deal up on the sheet. How's this going? Where's this one at? What's that one at? And so on. And you've got 10 salespeople or 20 salespeople sitting around.
Imagine the cost.
Or the cost.
Imagine the cost.
Waste of time and effort, and they don't learn from it.
Yeah.
And they don't value the opportunity to get together as a team when that sort of thing happens.
No, and I think that what is this frightening statistic, which I believe to be true, that salespeople spend only 30% of their time actually selling in front of customers.
Yeah.
If you add up all this, it's frightening. So you really need to work on keeping the time commitments down, but making them valuable and constructive.
Yep. Okay, so that's the sales team meeting.
Yeah.
And then what's next?
We need to communicate it to the wider organisation. So as a sales manager, there would be the appropriate forum to communicate to the business what can be expected.
Yeah.
And what the business also needs to do to support that.
And of course, depending on the size of the organisation, there'll be multiple layers that you go up. If it's a small organisation, it might be the CEO, CFO, and a couple of others sitting in a pipeline review meeting. This is critical to the business. And the sales manager or sales management is working with them in that meeting.
Yeah.
So everybody can have confidence in the forecast.
Exactly, and coming back to it, this works only if you have your right model, you have your right revenue plan of achievable, realistic targets, you have the right people in the right jobs, you have the sales process where you actually speak a common language and you know where you're at and what you do next. Marketing plays the right game with sales, they work and collaborate together. We have the right cadence at a sales management level. Now we're having an engine humming.
Sounds like utopia.
It does, doesn't it?
I wish it was that easy.
No, it's all hard work. It's all hard work.
But you've expressed it very well, and I thank you very much. I've learned a lot through our discussions.
So
and
did
I hope we get the opportunity to do a few more.
Absolutely, we will.